Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Window into the Seminary. I'm very happy to be here with my guest, Br Ricardo, and we look forward to talk about some literature. He has a really nice topic to talk about. And so, Br Ricardo, welcome. It's great to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit of your background, your history, and how did you come all the way here?
Well, thank you, bro, Alexis. I'm really excited to be here in Window to the Seminary podcast. So, before I start talking about Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which is a book that I'm fascinated with, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So, I'm from Venezuela. I was born in Caracas, but then we moved out of the country because the situation was a little bit hard there. But my vocation really starts to take more strength during college, because for me high school and even before that was pretty regular. I mean, thankfully my family could provide for me everything that I needed, and we were Catholics. I grew up with a Catholic upbringing, and everything was pretty nice, pretty safe, pretty secure. I would say pretty normal. But it was in college when I really started to ask myself the questions, like the important questions. And I think you can relate with that. Because it's when you go to a different place, like in my case, I was living in Panama in the moment in Central America, but then moved to Florida. So I was studying in Florida State University. I was doing industrial engineering. And it was great. I mean, things were going good, but at the same time, there was something inside of me that wanted more.
Yes.
I felt like I had a good apartment. I had a lot of friends. I was doing, in school, I was doing all right, but there was something in my heart that longed for something more. So basically, in my relationship with friends from church, also different retreats that I was able to go, I was able to experience something that was talking to me in a deeper sense. It was talking to my heart, and it was that relationship with God that it was developing through prayer, through the closeness to people that had faith. So basically, through faith, I started to realize a deeper happiness, a happiness that it can't be taken away by the things of this world, but it just keeps growing, right? And it doesn't mean that it doesn't come with challenges, but all those challenges are worth it, because at the end you have the most important thing, which is your relationship with God.
Yes, I think as we experience that lack of meaning, if you want to call it that way, that was what propelled us to look for something else, right? And Jesus was already there, knocking at the door, waiting for us. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, brother. So, the topic for today you mentioned, um, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Huge book, really, really famous. And why? Why did you find that personally stroking? Why is it?
Well, first of all, as you say, it's a classic. I think it's a pretty well-read book. Um, it was one of the options in our literature class, which we both enjoy. It's a great class. And I just didn't have time to read it during the semester, but during the summer, it was a great time to do so. So I just took some time to do it, and yeah, I think it definitely changed my way of looking at different things. I would say the main theme in the book, though, is the relationship between creature and creator. So basically, as a summary, there's this scientist, which is called Victor Frankenstein, and he's really ambitious. And during the novel, it relates the advancements that science is making. So electricity is something that is coming out, new machinery to make experiments. And so the novel deals with that, because also you have to remember, this is really it's like an autobiography by Mary Shelley,
Mm-hmm.
because this was written in 1818 in actually in Switzerland. The inspiration came when they were in a house in Switzerland, but she's from London, so it was
Yeah.
published in London and it became famous in London. And during those times, these were things that people were thinking about, like the science is going to revolutionize the world. Now we have all this technology, all these things that are changing our lifestyle. And what does that imply about the human person? What does that change about our way of seeing the world and seeing ourselves? So a lot of these themes go into the novel and make it really interesting. But as I was saying, that relationship between creature and creator, because this scientist, Victor Frankenstein, driven by his ambition and with all the advancements that science has made, decides to make a person.
All right.
Decides to make a person, and in this way, he can take his ambition to another level, right? So the novel narrates the kind of like the drama between the creature, which is called the monster, and Victor, right? And it's that constant drama and that relationship that they have.
Okay. Interesting. I think because of this book, the science fiction genre was born, right? Because you mentioned it. It is a historical time of the Enlightenment, and so human it is basing or supporting his existence on what his reason can achieve, and so by that, putting aside the figure, a divine figure, God, the figure of God, because it is not tangible, it is not quantificable, so it doesn't help me a lot. So let's put that aside. So, what's the relationship that you find between that that thought of back from that era and today's era in the regarding how the human uh, lives his day-to-day life supported only in reason and the tangible.
Right. Well, in some parts, the novel speaks about this, and Mary Shelley wasn't particularly Christian or anything, but she does dive into this relationship of what is it, how is it that we should relate if there is a creator or not, right? Or if there is, how should we
Okay.
relate with him, or how does that work? But also something that I wanted to talk about first. She's putting herself in this novel. That's why you can relate with it. Because when she was born, her mother died in the moment of her birth. Then, when she was a teenager, about 16 years old, she decides to marry Percy Shelley,
Yes.
which he was a famous poet at the moment, but he was already married. So that in those moments, it didn't look good at all. So what happened? Her father was an intellectual, a philosopher. So she had grown up with a lot of culture, with a lot of good tutors, and she had read a lot. And so when she decides to go with Percy, her dad throws her out of the house. So basically, the dad doesn't want to have anything to do with her anymore. So she feels this rejection. She feels excluded from her own home. And also, she feels guilty for the death of her mom. So what do we see in Frankenstein, which is the name they put to the monster? Well, he feels that as well. Because from the beginning, Victor, which is his creator, hates him. He hates him from the beginning. Why? Because the monster is a monster. I mean, he was put together by different members of bodies of people that were already dead. So obviously, he's pretty ugly. And he's huge, and he's something bizarre to look at. So Victor is constantly yelling at him, saying like, you're a wretched monster. That's something that he says all the time. Wretched monster, get out of here. So imagine the monster. Put yourself in his position. The creator, his creator, doesn't even want to have anything to do with him. And more than that, hates him. Right? So this is something so interesting for us to look at, because from a Catholic perspective, we understand God as our Heavenly Father, as someone that takes care of us, someone that created us out of love. And not only created us out of love, but redeemed us from sin and has a plan of salvation for all of us. So when you look at that, it's so interesting to see how that was her point of view, and you understand it from the life that she lived. But you compare it to ours, and you're like, wow, like, I'm so happy it is the opposite of all of that. And that was so interesting for me to see.
Yes, and you mentioned a lot, like how the monster experienced that the straight relationship with his creator, with Victor. Can you tell me a little bit more, like how does the actual like monster, he goes through a sort of journey, right? Going through different experiences that build, in the end they build what his personality. So, how is it the journey of the monster trying to reach his creator?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we see a creator that is really individualistic, because so he created the monster, and then he doesn't want to have anything to do with him, but he continues with his own life basically, right? So he has different things going on in his life, especially his pursuit of knowledge. He's really ambitious. But this is also a theme of the book, is the thing of unrestricted ambition. Because we can see throughout the novel all the problems that come out of having done this. So what happened? Victor wanted to put himself in the place of God. He wanted to control life in a way that is above us, right? And he was able to do it through the science, through the experiments. So as it continues, you see this monster that is trying to gain that relationship, to recover that relationship with this creator. Because ultimately, he feels lonely. I mean, he can't relate to normal people because he's a monster. And he can't even talk with his creator because his creator hates him. So you see how basically he's abandoned, the same way Mary Shelley was.
Okay.
And now he has to make up for that. So what does he want to do? Well, there's a part where he's trying to engage a family. So basically he goes into nature and he finds his family in the forest. And the family is a French family. So he's just there, and he's looking through the window. And he sees them talking to each other. There's the father, there's the son and the daughter. And it's just an ordinary life. But he's really attracted to that. That is something that impacts him a lot, because that is something that he's longing for, to have that relationship with others.
Okay.
So he's really smart, because it says that he was able to pick up the language. So just by listening to them speaking French, he was able to pick it up. Then he saw that they read books, so he also wanted to read books. And this also shows all the culture that Mary Shelley does, because it mentions different important books, such as Paradise Lost by John Milton, and then also by Goethe, some books. I believe The Sorrows of Young Werther.
Okay.
And so it shows how he is also influenced by the stories that he reads, right? And how all of this is leading him to look for more meaning and for a connection with someone.
Right.
So basically, it comes a point where he's like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna speak with them finally, after a lot of time. And the inevitable happens. Once he goes, everyone starts going crazy. I mean, the father was blind, so he wasn't really sure who it was. But then when the sons came, the son and the daughter, they started hitting him because he's a monster. So the monster runs away. So it's like it builds up to this moment of like, there could have been something, there could have been a connection. But what happens? He's rejected once more. And then he's walking in the forest. He goes there's a river he goes into the river, and he sees that there's someone that is drowning. So he tries to save him. And when he does, he's a little kid. When he does, the kid starts to panic, starts to yell, starts to scream at him. And what was he doing? He was just trying to save him. So what does he do? He ends up killing the kid. So here you see, there's a lot of different conflicts. But at the end of the day, the novel is written in such a way that you feel compassion for the monster. And so what happened? This kid was actually the little brother of Victor Frankenstein, of his creator. And even before that, he had killed a beloved person of Victor.
Yes.
Because it was the only way for him to get his attention. So we also see this a lot. I mean, you can think about your own childhood or, yeah. How many times did you do something, I mean, obviously not kill someone, but do something out of the ordinary just to get the attention of your parents? I mean, this is deep psychology, and we can all relate to it, right? So it's one of the things, yeah.
Yes, this is kind of like a quest for love, for meaning, and that you yourself cannot acquire by your own means. And you need the image, in some sense, the mirror of your creator, that in our case, Christ Jesus, who called us, he is the gaze that we need to receive in order for us to be confirmed in our identity, right? So it is a beautiful attempt on the search for love, which we have experienced personally. So I'm gonna give you two options. So either, why would you recommend this to a young man, or how do you see that this connection creature helps to understand better the vocation, the vocational discernment?
I think they're both good questions. So let's start with the first one. You said the first one, why would I recommend it?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's a book that especially talks about identity, right? So it's gonna make you, it's going to ask you, who are you? And how do you relate to others? And who do you believe in, right? So there's deep questions right there. And that is the main reason why I would recommend it to someone. Yeah, especially a young person or, but any type of person to be it could be helpful to any person. And mainly because of that, because of the depth of the novel, how it portrays the relationship between creature and creator, how it portrays the search for identity, how it portrays our longing for connection. So all of these things can help you in your personal life to kind of like organize your interior world and try to look for that in an ordered way, in a healthy way.
Okay.
And then the second question, which was?
How do you see that this relationship creator-creature helps to unveil better the vocational discernment?
Oh, okay. I mean, definitely in a lot of ways. I mean, the simplest thing is that compare this, as I was saying in the beginning, to the Catholic faith. And at the end, that gives a lot of answers, because if our Creator is someone that loves us, is someone that's looking what is best for us, is our Father in heaven, is someone that wants to provide for us, is someone that has a plan for us, and this is also biblical, right? Jeremiah, he already had a plan for us even before the moment of our conception. So you consider this and you think and you ask God, what is it that he really wants for me? Because ultimately, finding this vocation is going to lead to the answers that this novel presents. It's going to lead to the places where I find connection with others in a really deep way, a meaningful way.
Okay.
It's going to correct my vision of the Creator into a real one. I'm going to feel a loved creature, a loved human person. So ultimately, it can answer your search for the vocation in these ways.
Yes, I totally agree on your answers. And actually, you've given me a new perspective uh, for the book, which made me kind of want to read it again. So I hope to have sometime this semester. But thanks for being here with us. I think that's the power and the magic of literature, the relatable stories, and more so, the stories that help us to acquire and to find our meaning in this life. So thank you so much for your reflection, Bro Ricardo. We hope to have you soon again with another great book. And thank you all for watching this video. We hope to hear from you in the comments. And God bless. Thank you so much.